and influenza travels the globe every single year. So influenza is completely reliable. It's a plague of humankind every year and kills many hundreds of thousands of people every year. In a bad year, it can kill millions of people. We've learned to live with influenza, and we hope that we don't have the pandemic strains, the ones that are most severe, more lethal. We had such a strain in the swine flu 2009. We also had it in 1968, 1957. And the most famous was 1918, 1919, which infected between 30 and 100 million people, killing tens of millions of people around the world. So coronaviruses, which are thought of as bat viruses, there are over 200 strains, and they have infected humans. There are coronaviruses that cause mild disease in children. So we know that coronaviruses can be adapted to children, to humans, I should say. And then we have the SARS experience. So SARS, a novel coronavirus, and one that had not been seen in humans before, jumped into humankind. And again, we think it was bat origin because that's the natural host of the coronaviruses, but they can leap into vertebrate animals. And a disease that leaps from vertebrate animals to humans is called a zoonosis. So this is a zoonosis. And we learned from SARS that it could be transmitted human to human, but the SARS coronavirus was not as efficiently adapted to humans as the childhood coronaviruses are, and did not survive the seasonal shift in 2004. So it died out in the summertime and did not recur in the next season. Then we had MERS, the Middle East respiratory syndrome, and even more lethal than SARS, extremely lethal, but no, it didn't transmit efficiently person to person. Then finally, we have the current coronavirus, the so-called SARS COVID-2 virus, and then the disease we refer to as COVID-19. So the SARS-CoV-2 virus turns out to be as efficiently spread in humans as influenza, or possibly even a little bit better, and much more lethal than influenza typically is, probably 5 to 10 times more lethal, and not as lethal as SARS or MERS, but still worse than influenza. So introducing this new virus to humankind is a terrible thing, especially since its greater infectiousness may keep the cycle going all year round. We're not at all sure that it will die out in the summertime, because you know that the southern hemisphere has the inverse seasons as the northern hemisphere. So perhaps it dies out a little bit in the temperate climate northern countries like China or U.S., Europe, Iran, but perhaps it surges in Australia, in Chile, Argentina, etc. So then it can be reintroduced. Another possibility is that we don't really snuff it out in the summertime. We have a second wave. As people start going back to work, then we see a second wave. So there are great concerns about this new coronavirus. We would be very happy to rid it from humankind, but it's taken an extremely strong foothold in 200 countries. And we see local transmission everywhere we look. No matter which country we look at, we see local transmission person to person. So this is why we're taking this so very seriously.